So this one is Minesweeper. In the popular Minesweeper game, you have a board with some mines, and those cells that don't contain a mine have a number in it that indicates the total number of mines in the neighbouring cells. Starting off with some arrangement of mines, we want to create a Minesweeper game setup. So we get the input array here, and say for this cell here, these surrounding cells, like in the matrix which we're going to create, the surrounding cells, one of them is true, so we would have this one to be 1. As for the one below it, the neighbouring cells, there's 2 trues, so then that's how they get the number 2. There's a very short method, and I did look at the solutions after I did all of the if statements in the one which I'm going to show you, and it's this one here. From what I understand with it, there's the 2 map methods, so then you can navigate through the true and false matrix, but I just couldn't put my finger on how the reduce method here works. I just couldn't figure that out. So if someone does know, and they can explain maybe in a video or trying to describe in what this does, and then the second part as well, that would be awesome. But the solution which I'm going to show you is looping through the true and false matrix and then navigating around the cells, so navigating all the neighbouring cells with if statements. So first of all, the first thing we want to do is we're going to be outputting a board like so. Oh, let's and now we want to loop through the matrix. So for let x is equal to 0, and we want x to be less than the matrix length, and then we want to increment x by 1 each time. We then want to loop through each of the rows, so per column, and we'll do that with let y is equal to 0, and then y is less than the matrix, and we would do the first array in the matrix dot length. This is very similar to the ghost one when we had to loop through that matrix. So now if I just do console.log matrix, what's the first one, x and y, you'll see we just get a bunch of true and false, sort of looping through true, false, 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 true, so true, and then false, false, true, no, so we're going through this row, and then the second row, and then the third row. Just here, what we would need to do is board.push an empty array. I'm going to take that console log out, and I'll just show you why. So we do return board, and I'm going to do console.log board just so you can see. So each time the X loop sort of initiates and then loops over, we're putting an empty array in each time. Now we want to fill that array up with values. So what we can do is do board X and Y, this is just for an example, is equal to 0, and you can see we're filling up the values with 0. So for instance, if X is 0, which would be this one here, and Y 0, that would be that one, but say Y was equal to 2 and X was 0, it will be this one here. If they're both equal to 2, you get the idea. So for instance, now we know we can sort of navigate around this matrix. We need to create, so for instance, x0 and y0 will be this value here, and we need to look at the neighbouring cells in this matrix. So we need to look at the one towards the right, the bottom right, and the one below it. And say when x is equal to 2, which would be this one, say when x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 1, it would be the middle one. So we need to see how many truths are around, or how many truths are neighbouring that cell. So go from the outside, the border basically, and there's one true, which is the top left. And the way in how we can do that is for a bunch of if statements. So here we're going to do above, and if the matrix x minus 1 is not undefined, so if it exists, the reason why we do that, x minus 1, is for the top row, there isn't going to be an above, so we're going to get undefined. So we can just skip that. But say we're on the bottom row and we want to check out the top values. So it'll be like, oh, okay, there is a value there, so let's do this. And then we do if matrix x minus 1 and then y. So if that's true, we just want to do board x and then y and just plus 1. So if I was to just run that test, what you can see here is our output is horrendous. And our output should not be that. What have I done? Matrix x plus plus, let y is equal to 0. That's fine. If matrix x minus 1 is not undefined, do this. We need to set it to 0. I've deleted it, didn't I? And then we need to add to it is equal to 0. There we go. So what we can see here is we're doing the one above. So we get one value here and then the one value here, and we compare it to the board above. And the reason why that is 1 is because the value above it is true. And the reason why these are 0 is because the value above it is either undefined or it's false. So what we're going to do is go through each of the 9 sort of border neighbouring cells around. This one here will be below. And instead of being x plus 1, no, x minus 1, it will be x plus 1. So quite a nice, easy change. The next one will be left. This one's a little bit more tricky. So first of all, we need to do if matrix, and then it's just x. And then we're going left, so that will be y minus 1. And then it'd be exactly the same for this bit here. So just the x, and then y minus 1. Quite similar for it to be right. So we'll just, oh, I just deleted that, didn't I? So we'll copy that. And then instead of it being y minus 1, it would be y plus 1. And that would be for right. So then the next one, we will want to do top left. So we want to go up. Oh yeah, let's get rid of that. So we want to go up, so that would be x minus 1, and we just need to see if that is undefined, if that whole row is undefined. And if there is a value existing there, then we want to still do x minus 1, but we also need to do y minus 1 just to get that top left one. So copy this, and then instead of it being top left, we will do top right. So it would be matrix minus 1 still, because it's still the row above the cell which you're counting, minus 1, but instead it will be y plus 1. Oh, I keep doing that. And then it will be the two corners, so it will be bottom. We'll do bottom left. So instead of it being minus 1, it will be x plus 1. And then here we'll do x plus 1 and y minus 1, because we're getting the bottom left hand corner. Let's copy all of that. And then we'll just do bottom right. If I can get the right one. So it'll still be x plus 1. But this one here will be y plus 1, because you're going down and then towards the right. That should give us the answer. We'll submit. Perfect. So that's how I figured it out. Like I showed you earlier, there is a much simpler method of doing it, a much simpler solution, but I just didn't understand it, so I wasn't going to say, hey, this is how you do it, because I just didn't get it. If someone else does, then that would be fantastic, and I'd love to learn that. But I'll just slowly scroll through this solution just so then, yeah, you've got it, instead of having to sort of flick through the video. So this was the top half up to the left. And then here we'll have right, top right, and we get the bottom left in there? Yeah. And then we've just got the bottom right, and then the return board at the end. So yeah, that's a solution for the Minesweeper challenge.